Hey people, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And
this is
season
season
4
4 of
Pero
Pero Let Me Tell You. Well, that's not advisable.
There's a new criminal in town. And his name is Jamie Spears.
Oh, no.
Jamie Spears, le van a meter leña.
Leña. No, y cuidado.
So, well, everybody, welcome to episode. We're in the 170s, right?
176.
I feel that this happened with another.
I feel like with the 120s.
There was
There was a stretch.
Yes.
Yeah. There was another stretch where we were like, is it ever going to end?
Yeah. So we're here with the 170s.
We're here with the
Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Ya estamos en
We're in
octubre.
October, baby.
Okay, how? Like,
Well, the way that months work, passage of time.
no, yeah, it's Christmas. It's Christmas.
Yeah, the dollar store already has Christmas stuff.
Are you serious?
Yes, because I went the other day because I had to go buy something, and it's they already have they have their Halloween stuff, and they've already started to bring out the Christmas stuff.
No, you have to go now. Porque ahora es cuando está lo
La
bueno.
cosa linda, yeah.
As my mom would say.
She's not wrong.
No, ahora es cuando están las cosas linda y fina. And I'm like,
not wrong.
I don't know about fino.
Not fina, but like the cute stuff. The cute stuff is now
Define cute at the dollar store for Christmas.
something that looks like it could be $5.
So it could be from 5 and below.
Right.
I love, okay, so, and again, welcome everybody to episode
176.
I love how they opened up a 5 and below by my house, and I had never been to 5 and below, and I just love the like how much fancier it is, that it's the $5 store,
Yes.
but they have like electronics.
Yes. Listen, there's a lot of stuff there as well.
Oh yeah, I bought the LED strips for the back of my flat screen TV. That's why my flat screen TV is all lit up and LEDs at the $5 store.
Absolutely.
And it has a remote control.
You can't get. I mean, look, I get it. It's probably the tech equivalent of fast fashion or whatever, but who cares?
You mean Fashion Nova?
Or H&M actually is considered fast fashion too.
What do you mean?
It's clothes that's meant to be thrown away. So basically, we should not be buying fast fashion because what it's doing is contributing to
That whole Will Smith,
right.
right? Jaden Smith commercial.
It's funny because I was like, yes,
Yes,
exactly,
the Jaden-
yes.
Right. When you buy better, you do better.
Exactly.
When you do better, the planet. Right. Wait, really? But does H&M agree with this label?
Well, I don't think you have. I mean, McDonald's doesn't agree with being called unhealthy, but here we are. Like you don't have to agree with it. But
you know why? Okay, years ago.
see, I don't understand that because
maybe 10 years ago.
es que yo cuido las cosas.
Well, I was going to tell you, maybe 10 years ago. Actually, it was 10 years ago. No, it was more than 10 years ago because it's when I went to New York with a friend of mine to go see the Yankees play at the old Yankee Stadium. So it was 2008. So it's 13 years ago. I went to the H&M by, is it Herald Square?
Yep. There's one there. Yeah.
And was it the one there in New York? And I bought 20 pairs of like dress socks.
Okay.
Like to wear for work. Yeah. And I still use them.
That's what I'm saying. I get what people mean when they say that about certain brands, like even in H&M. Like, I get it conceptually, but personally, I still have things that I've had forever.
But I think it depends on what it is, because like things like jeans or like a coat or a jacket, those are items that you wear for years.
But not even. Depende de la persona, because you know as well as I do that there are people out there who can buy something for $1,000 and within a week and a half, ya lo han acabado.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the person at the end of the day, I believe. But again, I understand where they're coming from conceptually. I agree with the
I didn't know
sentiment.
that was the thing.
Yeah.
But then again, I didn't know what
You didn't know what the La Brea tar pits were either.
La Brea tar pit. So listeners, okay, maybe I'm not alone on this. I think that if you've been listening to us for 176
or more, because we've had bonus
that
episodes.
I kind of strive. I don't want to say to be a know-it-all, but
you like to be educated.
I like to be educated. I don't like to call myself intellectual because that sounds very
but you like
bougie.
to but you like to know things.
I like to know things.
Right. You don't like to be caught off guard with conversations.
Right. But every now and then, like I'll come across something,
You got
I'll
blind
hear
spots.
something, and I don't know what it is. And I was talking to Ish earlier now about the show that premiered on NBC this week called. I even told him, I'm like, is it L.A. Brie or like La Brea? And he's like, hello, what did you say?
I'm like, no, because you're like, oh yeah, that show La Brea, and I'm like, you mean La Brea? And he's like, what? Okay, yeah, that. And I'm like the La Brea Tar Pits, and he looked at me so blankly that I felt like I had just won Jeopardy.
Okay, listeners,
Because it's not often that I get to know something you don't.
do you know what the La Brea Tar Pits are? I had never heard of them. Mind you, I've been to LA like a bunch of times.
Yes.
We were in LA, with the podcast 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, that was 2 years ago? It was 2 years ago because it was for my birthday.
It was for your birthday. We're rounding on 2 years almost to the day.
So I had never heard of these tar pits.
Well, there you
not
go.
that I hear about many tar pits.
Yeah, not a topical conversation.
chapapote.
We
That's such a great word, chapapote.
Chapapote and hipoteca. They're just
Hipoteca
great.
y chapapote. Tú le pones chapapote al techo de tu casa que pagas una hipoteca.
Okay, can that be a shirt?
Ay, that's one of the worst jobs.
Putting chapapote?
Oh my god. When tú ves that it's like 5,000 degrees outside,
And it's
then
even
you're
hotter.
putting, melted tar, like
You're just talking about it medio calor.
yeah.
And the smell. I smelled it immediately as you were talking about
and
it.
I always think like when you're behind a roofer and they have like the little dolly in the back or whatever with a chapapote, and I'm like, oh no. Si eso se desprende and it hits my car, things are not going to end well. I'm going to have to get out of the car and my feet are going to be stuck to the... Like, whatever. It's just... La Brea Tar Pits. Like, who knew?
Tar Pits, yeah.
Who knew?
Well, I did.
Have you been to these tar pits?
I've driven by it.
Okay, why didn't we go to these tar... Next time we go to LA, we're going to
We're
the
going to
tar
go to the
pits.
tar pits. We're going to the tar pits, yes.
And not only that, I had never... Like, when you said that to me, it was like...
No,
what?
the look on your face was like, it wasn't even that look that sometimes you get of like, I see Chico, yeah, that thing, like you had forgotten or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like, no, I had just
never heard of this
dropped
ever.
completely new knowledge on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. La Brea Tar Pits. You learn something new every day. Knowledge is power. The more you learn. Katy Perry Super Bowl. Whoever caught that frame of reference. So yeah. Oh, well. I know we've spoken about Britney Spears several times on the podcast, but just a little quick update. I think...
I mean, it was this week.
I was singing Criminal.
Yes, yeah.
when the show started.
Kind of at the top of the show.
So her father finally got released from the conservatorship this week, as you guys know.
She still has a conservatorship.
As you
not
guys
with Jamie.
know, there's been a back and forth with her conservatorship for 12, 13 years now, and she has been literally, according to her, she has no rights, including reproductive rights. Like she can't,
really?
according to her, even have a child or get married or whatever.
When Britney Spears is looking at Texas going, lucky, you're
You're so lucky. Yeah. Now, okay, so Jamie Spears, finally, her dad got removed of this conservatorship, from the conservatorship. Now that you know everything about her, doesn't that song like sound differently now?
Lucky?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that song was written, I mean, that song's like 20 years old.
Yeah, I know. But when that song came out, that wasn't one of my favorite songs of hers. I actually thought it was kind of dumb.
But now it has a different meaning.
Yeah, but now it's like, oh, like you could totally...
How about I'm not a girl, not yet a woman?
Well, when I think of that song...
You think of your dog?
Well, no, I think of... that I used to sing it to my dog when she was a puppy.
Yes.
To Zambolina. I used to go, you're not a girl, not yet a woman. You're only a puppy. No, I think of the not the Grand Canyon. The
the Grand Canyon. I mean,
it's but no, is it Zion National Park?
I don't know exactly, but yes, the Grand Canyon of it all.
Right. So whenever I see it on TV, I'm like, oh, that's where they.
That's where
they filmed.
She started having thoughts about womanhood
when they filmed the video to "I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman."
Can we talk a minute though about how Britney, was getting closer to her freedom, right? And celebrated in a way that only Britney could. Homegirl flew a plane.
Oh yeah, as one does.
As one does. It's like, oh, okay, your father's no longer in the conservatorship. All right, y'all.
I'm flying a plane.
I'm gonna go take pictures. Oh, because she posted pictures naked now too, where she put flowers over her bits, and she flew a plane. And you know what? I can't think of a better way to celebrate
your independence.
Yeah.
Than being, flying in the air.
Than flight. And lack of clothing.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to think of something. Thank you for crying, Britney Air.
The exits are in
The exits are
in
the front
and the rear
back
of the craft.
Right.
There's like two of you that got that reference.
Imagine a Britney Spears airline.
Well, we already know what the flight attendants would wear.
There'll be snakes on the plane.
Oh no!
Oh, that's good. That's right. Yeah, that's right. From the
I feel like it would be like a Virgin Airlines flight.
yeah. Britney Air.
Britney Air.
But good for her. Good luck. I mean, what they've done to that girl is just. It's funny because I feel that most people, and it'll be interesting to hear what our listeners have to say. I think most people knew what was going on, and it was kind of in the background.
To what extent?
But nobody knew details.
Right.
But now that these documentaries have come out, and like details, like actual details, documents,
yeah,
have
receipts,
come out,
as the kids
the
say.
receipts. It's like shit. What they did to her, what they've done to her, is illegal. Like. Legally and morally and ethically,
more than legal, I think morally, because as we know, there's lots of shades of gray when it comes to legal. You know, there's always
that's
one
a good way of putting it.
Well, it's the truth, right? I mean, you would know better than I, but I think it's more about the moral, the moral ground of what they did to this poor girl. And we're gonna go ahead and just repeat it. Brittany, if you, your people, or anyone who knows you or your people are listening, we think we should be the first stop on the interview tour.
Yes, because we keep saying that. When all this is done, it won't be for a while. But when all of this is done and behind her, like, who is she going to give the sit-down interview to?
Yeah.
Right?
She's not going to do it until the conservatorship is officially over.
And, she's kind of regained composure and gotten her life together. And, she's looking good. Like, who's she going to give that first interview to? We obviously think it's going to be Oprah. But what we're trying to do is, we're trying to get out there and say and campaign that it should be us.
So should we start a hashtag like Pero Britney?
Pero Britney interview.
Or Pero Let Me Tell Britney?
Pero Let Me Tell Britney. I like that.
Okay.
Will she come here to our studio?
I feel that let me tell you something. If Britney Spears...
Pero let me tell you.
Let me tell you that if Britney Spears agrees to an interview with us, I will fly to the moon. I don't care where she wants to have the interview. If she wants to have it on the bottom of the ocean floor, we will figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
That is the one interview that, you know what? We will go to her. I think it's fair to say.
That would be an understatement.
Yes.
Yeah, so anyway. Bueno, ¿viste who had a really bad week?
R. Kelly?
Yep.
I didn't know that's what we were going with, but yeah.
R. Kelly had a really bad week. And
he was found guilty of sex trafficking, right?
Yes.
And racketeering. That's the one that threw me off. Because the sex trafficking, I know that ultimately what it comes down to is, as you know, he was charged with all the, sexual with activities with minors and things like that. So anytime you transport a minor across state lines for the purposes of sexual activity, it's considered trafficking. So that one I get. Like, I understand where that's coming from.
Matt Gates.
Well, I think he's beyond being spoken to. But what I don't understand is the racketeering, because racketeering is usually what they would get like mobsters with, right? Like, doing like the numbers games and all that stuff, right? Like being a bookie, no?
Yeah, no, because racketeering is like legal business practices or business dealings. Like,
so could it be like the payouts,
like a pay for play, like all that? All that is racketeering.
Oh, okay. So
I
always think of it as like the mafia.
Specifically to the well, I mean, you're not too off,
right?
Because I mean, the mafia, a lot of these like bosses and all that from that time were involved in smuggling.
True, yeah.
So there was a business there. Regarding the R. Kelly case, I'm not sure exactly as to the count of racketeering, what exactly factually he did.
Could it have been like a payout, like to keep somebody quiet?
Probably. That I don't know. What I just thought was really interesting, which again we've been saying this over and over and over again in 176
plus,
how I saw people online this week saying like, oh my gosh, it was so terrible to know and find out like what he did to Aaliyah. And I'm like, but
we knew
this wasn't a secret at all.
They didn't even try. You know what? At least Jamie Spears tried to keep it a secret what was going on in the conservatorship. They did not with R. Kelly
This
and
was
Aaliyah.
in no way, shape, or form.
Yeah. At all.
At all. Like,
all.
the reason why Aaliyah named her first album Age Ain't Nothing But a Number was for that reason.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not even a read between the lines situation.
Yes.
It's read the lines.
yes, yes. So, I'm happy that he is getting his just desserts.
Yeah,
and
he's
I'm happy
having
that
to answer.
justice was served.
Right.
And they haven't done, the day of this podcast.
His sentencing isn't going to happen until next year.
Right, they haven't done the sentencing. He could face life in prison.
Really?
Yeah, he can.
For trafficking. Yeah.
So that's between him, the legal system, and his maker, how much he should get. But again, and we sound like broken records, what upsets me about the R. Kelly situation is the selective outrage.
Right.
This man
Right.
has always shown you who he was.
And nobody cares.
Always. If anything, he's always been honest.
Listen,
who he was.
he's been consistent. It's like me and Chick-fil-A. I'm like, you know what? I can't get mad at Chick-fil-A for being like, yeah, no, we support, anti-gay causes. They didn't try to hide it.
Right. We're closed on Sunday.
I respect them for just being upfront about it.
So I like that that's what you went with. He's always shown you who he was. But as I always say, in 2001, when the allegations came out against him for child pornography, that those videos came out where he was urinating on underage girls and he went to trial for this, people didn't care because they were stepping to the name of love. And
they were believing they could fly.
Yeah. So, I
But there's no more ignition.
I think this is, and also the things that here's another thing, because the argument or the counter argument to what we're saying is like, oh, but we've evolved and, the Me Too movement and all that. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy.
Fine.
But marrying when you're 28, 29 years old,
a 15-year-old,
a 13 or 14-year-old, because that's how old Aaliyah's birth certificate
was fudged. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Has always been wrong. Right?
Yeah, like she could have been 9.
When you're a man in your 40s, peeing on an underage girl and doing a sex tape, that's always been wrong.
Yeah.
So these aren't things that we've evolved from.
It's not like a date rape situation, which has always been wrong, but I think has become more defined as we've gone on.
These have been allegations that have always been awful.
Statutory rape has always been on the books.
Yes.
Bottom line.
Yes. Child pornography has
always on the books.
Yes. So now it's like, oh, but now you're, or in the last few years, since it took a documentary for people to be outraged about this. Like, really?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's like an age thing, because maybe because Aaliyah is like,
would have been a contemporary of ours.
Aaliyah was our age, and we knew Aaliyah when she was, 14, 15 years old when she first came out. That, I don't know, maybe our generation really, I don't know, we really saw it. But again, it wasn't even a generational thing. It was a very open and public thing. And we're not talking about, this was in the 50s. This was in the 90s.
Right.
Whatever. It is what it is. And by the way, another thing. This is a
coda?
No, a conversation for another day. I could separate the
artist from the
asshole
music.
From the art.
The artist from the person, right?
Yeah, because he does some really good art.
Well, but I think there's that's an argument that you can have, and I think especially unless every one of his songs is about fucking a 14-year-old, you know what I mean? I think you can separate the artist from
Bump and Grind is such a good song.
Okay.
Good song.
In his defense, he says he don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind, but he doesn't specify the age.
I don't see nothing wrong with
a little bump and grind,
with a little consensual,
adult agreeing. Bump and grind. Yes. That's the new remix that we're going to put out.
That's the updated version.
That's the 2021 version.
I've never cared for "I Believe I Could Fly."
Well, you know how I feel about inspirational songs.
No, especially from him.
Get out of the cornfield already. Just fly away already. Why are you in the cornfield?
So anyway, moving right along.
So speaking of kids and and things like that.
On board.
take a ride.
Kids.
I've now seen that performed by both of the artists, but not together.
Do you remember the end? I'm an
The rap?
honorary Sean Connery, born 74. There's only one of me, single-handedly raising the economy. Ain't no chance of the record company dropping me. Friends be asking, do I care for sodomy? I don't know. Yeah.
Probably.
Maybe. Okay, we're boring our listeners.
Our listeners are never bored by us. But no, I heard about this trend. Actually, Jose is the one who brought it up to me. That is happening now with the social media and the TikTok. Because now that's the thing, right? Kids are all now like going out and like, the trend is do blah blah blah, and then they post about it, right? Mm-hmm. So this week, the Broward Teachers Union issued a warning to its members because apparently there is now a challenge. It's an October challenge, so I guess it's seasonal, like pumpkin spice, on TikTok to quote unquote slap a teacher.
Okay.
Yep.
But like in the middle of class?
I don't think it's that specific. But yeah, and this is already on the tails of another trend from last month, which was essentially take pictures or video after you destroy the bathroom in your school. So they would go in, they would like pull off the toilet seats, they would pull down the
who the hell's coming up with these things?
I don't know. But let me tell you something. If I was one of the,
that's assault and battery.
Not to be one of those, not to be, in my day, but let me tell you something. October, maybe slap a teacher challenge month, but if I was to slap a teacher challenge in October, November would be I'm no longer on this planet month. Because my parents would have beat the living shit out of me. A mí no se me hubiera ocurrido to go and hit a teacher.
Es que mamá, hay un challenge en TikTok que teníamos que meterle una galleta a la maestra.
Sí.
¿Qué galleta te voy a meter yo a ti? Is this like a wife or something?
Well, it's Broward, so it's 50-50.
This sounds like what Stephanie would say.
It's white people nonsense.
Yeah. What type of stupid
Well,
stuff is that?
the bathroom challenge one was also done in some Dade schools as well.
Okay, but is all this coming from Broward?
No. The warning was issued to the Broward Teachers Union that this challenge is out there, but this already comes on the heels of I don't know the official name, but like the Destroy Your Public School Bathroom Challenge, which did happen in several actually Miami-Dade schools as well.
Oh, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's stupid. You're talking about like criminal activity because that's what it is.
Right.
It's not being silly or stupid.
It's not cosas de muchacho.
This is criminal activity.
Right.
You slapping a teacher or anyone unprovoked is criminal. That's criminal activity. Like you could get arrested for that.
It would never dawn on me to slap a teacher, no matter how pissed off I would have been at a teacher.
Wow. So this is where we're at?
This is where we're at. Basically now, we're on the social medias and everybody wants their 15 minutes, I guess, irrespective of how you get it.
Well, because now these TikTok people end up on the Met Gala.
That's true. Or Dancing with the Stars. Give it time.
There's a TikTok.
No. But I'm saying, give it time.
My thing with TikTok is that there's certain things with TikTok, and I'm not in TikTok, but I watch the Instagram Reels.
Right,
which
yeah,
most of them are TikTok.
Same, yeah.
Some stuff is cute, and some stuff is fun.
The little, like, things where you're doing the split screen with...
Actually, I like the ones of, like, that are about, like, ASMR. Like, cutting...
Well, I'm not a fan of ASMR,
cutting like, something
like construction
smooth.
paper. Or,
yes.
Right.
Or, like, sticking your hand in sand. Like,
Right.
stuff like that. Like, I keep scrolling, and I'm like, oh, my God. Like, oh, my God. This person is sticking their hand in, like, a bowl of, like, beans. Like, oh, my God. Like, I need to watch this again.
That's great.
This
bowl of beans.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, what I think is hilarious are the vanity TikToks. That is just of like people, looking at the TikTok, I hope I don't fall. Boom, boom, boom. To show their outfits. And it's like, I wonder how many hours
what?
it took you.
I don't understand this TikTok.
The vanity TikTok?
Yeah, I don't understand the vanity. Because
There's
I'm not on
TikTok
TikTok.
accounts.
I'm not on TikTok.
There's TikTok accounts that is just of people that look good.
So it's just people like
Like really pretty women or
like
really,
look at my outfit?
Yeah, like let me find you some.
So they're not doing anything.
No, it's
per
just
se.
of them, like at the gym or.
Well, at least if you're at the gym, you're lifting heavy shit.
Yeah, no. It's not about that. No, it's
And I
not
hope
about
that if you are at the gym, it's a U-fit.
No, yeah, of course. No, no, of course not.
Now you can't find a single one of them.
is
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
come out. But yeah, vanity TikToks.
Vanity TikToks. Interesting. Because I always think of TikToks as like, creating content that's for better or worse, but it's like fun, silly.
I also like TikToks of barbers.
Of barbers?
Yeah, I like people getting haircuts. I like to see people getting haircuts.
Your TikTok is interesting.
Yeah, no, because I
People
find
getting haircuts.
Oh my god,
beans.
You know what is like the most relaxing thing? There's two of them. To see Turkish barbers.
Oh, when they put out the fire thing?
Well, not sometimes, but the thing is that in Turkey, all barbers give you like a full head massage, and I watch that, and I'm like,
Do you like imagine it's you?
yes. And then there's the barbers in India.
India, yes.
They freaking beat the shit out of you, like
Yeah.
giving you a massage. I'm like, yes, I sign up for it because I like those.
Yeah, I
I love those aggressive massages. When I go get a massage, you're like, oh, is it too hard? I'm like, no, can it be like 20 times harder?
just go get
No,
un bate
Yes.
and come break it over my back. Thank you. I will tip you extra if that's the case.
Yes. I don't know. I just think that it's terrible, and I just saw something really awful. This is really
That's triggering you. Yeah.
Yes. So I have that disorder that of people that can't see holes. Kendall Jenner has it. What is it called?
No, I'm thinking of trichotillomania, which is not it. Trichotillomania is when you pull out your hairs one by one.
Trypophobia.
There you go.
So
Like you can't look at like a honeycomb.
It's described as an aversion to the sight of irregular patterns or clusters of small holes or bumps. Do you know what drives me insane? Just thinking about it, go hope some. When you're at a restaurant, generally it's like a pizza place, and they open up the big box of straws.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, I never thought about that. Oh, wow. Oh my god. Oh my god. Do you want to take a moment? Do you want me to go get you some water?
That really triggers me. Like I start getting like goosebumps. A honeycomb? Oh my god. A lotus flower? You know when people use lotus flowers in decorations?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That will I'll start itching. It's it's funny that it's one of those things that I always got really bothered by it since I could remember.
Right.
But I thought it was like a me thing.
Well, yeah, until you know that it has a name.
Yeah, I thought it was like a me thing.
Yeah, comideria, whatever.
You know, wait. You know what completely triggers me? Ahora now in the fall that they start selling those pumpkins with all the pimples.
Oh yeah, like the gourds and all that. Yeah.
And then it's one of those things I'm not gonna look at it, but then I look at it.
Yeah, don't look at it. Don't look at it. Okay, I'm looking at it.
Or and it could be really weird things. You know what sort of gives that to me is runny bathwater.
Runny bathwater.
Okay, when you're doing a bubble bath or something and the bubbles have kind of dissipated, so they kind of all get in a corner.
Okay, yes, okay.
And they're all small little bubbles. Ugh.
That really?
Yes. That one not as much because it's different tiers of it. But the straws?
See, I would have never thought about the straws because since it doesn't do anything for me one way or the other, I would never have thought about it.
And then it's so funny because a lot of times that box of straws, they'll put it next to the Coke machine.
Claro, yeah.
So there I'm putting my Coke, and I'm imagine the music, the cryptic music, dong. And I'm oh.
Like that psycho music.
This is going to ruin my appetite.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Not the appetite.
It's pretty bad. Kendall Jenner has it. But it's so funny because as a Kardashian, because that's something that you have, and it's not a big deal. It's not like I'm disabled.
Oh, but she had a story arc about it?
Right. It's not okay, well, I'm going to apply for disability because I have trypophobia. Trypophobia completely dictates my life. And, I leave the house and, in the shadows, Nothing like that, right? It's like, it is what it is. Like, you deal with it. It's not a big deal. You get annoyed by it, and you're like, why is this annoying me? Like,
we move on.
For
right.
me, more, it's like, but why? Like, why?
Right.
Why
like,
does this freak me out?
Hola, mi gente. It's National Hispanic Heritage Month, where we celebrate the contributions and influence of Hispanic Americans to the history, culture, and achievements of the United States.
And this year, we're teaming up with Lay's to celebrate what makes us 100% American and 100% Latino.
Flavors like limon, chile limon, and cheddar jalapeno celebrate the flavors we all know and love with that unmistakable Lay's quality.
So grab your bag of Lay's limon, chile limon, or cheddar jalapeno this Hispanic Heritage Month and enjoy flavors that celebrate who we are.
After all, we all know you gotta have Lay's.
Pero do it con sabor.
Oye, mi gente, Ish here. So, as you know, we've teamed up with Lay's for Hispanic Heritage Month to spotlight some food that is 100% American and 100% Latino. And of course, as a result of that, we had to have some of our favorites here in Miami, the owners of Dos Croquetas, Vicky and Alec. I mean, you guys are family at this point. Thanks for coming back.
All right, how's it going?
Oh my God, I love having you guys. And more than love having you guys, I love eating your mac and cheese croqueta. Like, no joke. It is the epitome of what, Lay's is really spotlighting for Hispanic Heritage Month. It's Americano, it's Latino, the epitome of that whole feeling, right? How did that idea even come to you?
Well, we love croquetas and we love mac and cheese, and then add some bacon to it, and it's just, it's the perfect combination.
But, it's so funny because you think, like, perfect combination. I wouldn't have thought of it, quite honestly. Like, vaya, se quedaron así, like, that's it. You guys reinvented the wheel as far as I'm concerned when it comes to croquetas. Now, I also know you guys are family, so, obviously that's a very big Latino component. Gotta ask, how did that come about, and how do you keep from killing each other?
I think that we've gotten super, super lucky. Everyone always says don't work with family, and it's super hard. But her and I, we really are yin and yang, and we work really, really well together. Yeah, we've never had an argument. It's always just, let's just make the best product possible, and the best ideas always win.
Awesome.
Right. Our vision aligns, and we work really well together, and it just works, and we laugh a lot. He makes me laugh, I make him laugh, I think, and then it just it's a really good working relationship.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw that while we were making those delicious mac and cheese croquetas. It's like, están entre familia, I guess, right? As they say, it just works that way. So going back to, your mac and cheese croquetas. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the ingredients, right? Because it's not just your mac and cheese out the box.
No,
right?
no.
You would never do that to people, right?
Never.
So talk to us a little bit about that. Like, what are some of the little, ingredients that give it that distinct, maybe like a little more Latino flavor, right?
Well, we definitely use like the best quality that we can, to our macaroni, to our hickory smoked bacon, sharp cheddar cheese, and Monterey Jack cheese. So everything that we put in there is really thoughtfully added, and it's everything is just a nice blend so that it creates that really good flavor, and so it kind of packs a punch.
Yeah, definitely. It's got a very cheese-centric profile.
It's a lot of cheese.
Shall we say?
It's a lot of cheese.
Not a bad thing.
No, it's never a bad thing.
Said no one ever, right?
No.
Like, it's not a bad thing
Exactly.
at all. Oh my God, it's so delicious. So, actually reminds me a little bit of, Lay's chips, because you got that cheddar jalapeno. So obviously that's cheesy. It's got a kick. It's
Super
a
good.
little bit like your mac and cheese croqueta.
Yeah.
Because you guys also put a little bit of, what is it? I know you love your pepper.
I do. I love black pepper, and then there's another little added layer of hot sauce in there as well too.
Good Lord.
So it's not spicy, but it gives it that underlying little extra flavor boost.
That heat.
Yeah,
as they say,
just a little bit.
as the kids say nowadays, that heat. So what are some other maybe Latino American flavors that you guys are experimenting with, or is that more of like we'll keep that a secret for later?
Well, for Hispanic month, we're doing a garbanzo frito croqueta.
Ooh.
And so that one it's amazing. That one is delicious. It's smoked ham. It's got chorizo in it, garbanzos.
I was about to ask if it was vegetarian because it was garbanzo, but it is not.
It is not. But we are working on some vegetarian ones for garbanzo too.
Thank you guys again for coming by. As we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, it's great to sit here with other Hispanics who are just really embracing what it is to be, 100% American, 100% Latino. And, just like Lay's chips, like we said earlier, with their cheddar jalapeno, it's got that profile, that kick. When you gotta have Lay's, pero do it con sabor. So I like that you question your freak out.
Right. But Kendall Jenner in an interview was like, oh my God, because I have trypophobia. And I'm like, are you serious?
I think she's okay.
I'm sure there was like a special episode of the Kardashians
just about her treatment
trypophobia.
for that.
Yeah, her treatment. I mean, ahorita she's going to be on Dr. Drew.
Talking about her whatever phobia.
And if people in the trypophobia community think that I'm disrespecting
you know what?
them,
there probably is a community.
Come at me, because I'm one of you.
Yeah, you're one of them. It's like, whatever. You can't be disrespecting them if you're one of them. Weirdo.
Yeah. It's weird. It's really weird.
So,
A hornet's nest. Oh!
Well, I would be upset about a hornet's nest because of, the hornets.
No, I'm upset because of the little bumps. Dale, go ahead.
So...
Tengo picazón like me pican los ojos.
No. You look a little uncomfortable.
I am, because I've been thinking about it for like 5 minutes.
So I'm going to change the topic. So
Let's think about ice cream.
Let's think about... Uy, qué rico. Ice cream. No, but wait, do waffle cones do it to you too?
No.
Okay, all right.
Let's think about ice cream.
Okay. Donuts.
Donuts, of course.
Donuts, yes. Cupcakes.
Cupcakes.
Yes.
Disney World.
Eclairs. A tiramisu.
Oh, mascarpone cheese.
See, there you go.
There we go. Now I feel a lot creamier.
I have no transition from that, so I'm just going to go ahead and say, did you hear that they are going to be remaking The Bodyguard?
Okay, didn't we talk about this recently? Or was
You
this
and
like off?
and I talked about this off camera.
We talk off camera? Like...
That's the problem with you and I, is that we talk so damn much that there are times where we don't remember.
We were talking off camera.
But right after we recorded.
Right, and then I gave you like some really funny... Who was the one that I said that should do it?
Oh my God, who was it?
It was like...
Oh my God, it was great.
It was like, I don't know, like Ashanti and like Billy Bob Thornton. Or like some shit like
John
that.
Travolta.
John Travolta and Ashanti.
John Travolta and Ashanti.
Ashanti.
Yes. Well, so Ashanti will not be getting the role.
Oh, Ashanti can't hit that note.
Well, Ashanti won't be getting the note because so there was an article this week where they talked to the writer of the remake, which is actually the recent and first Latino playwright to win a Tony Award for Best Play, Matthew Lopez. And he's writing the remake. And what he has said is that he actually wants the Whitney role to be a Latina.
Okay.
Just...
La reina de la noche.
La reina de la noche, no tengo nada. But his whole thing was like, if we're gonna remake this movie, like let's make tweaks. Let's not just remake the movie.
I'm gonna tell you my opinion. Go ahead.
So that's pretty much it. It's like what do you? Because there was a lot of speculation because he's gay, and they're like, well, maybe they'd bring some type of gay storyline to it, and blah blah. And he's like, I just want let's have it be a Latina. Let's, instead of focusing on somebody like a Whitney Houston, let's use this to build someone else.
I think that the story is a very basic story. Star falls in love with bodyguard.
It's a Star is Born.
I think if they remake it with the same music, it's a disaster. I think that if they want to remake it, they need to have original music to it.
So don't have any of these songs from the first one.
Because if I'm not mistaken, A Star is Born, now with Lady Gaga, that's not the music from the Barbra Streisand one.
No, you're correct.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the same story, but
and
not
the Barbra
same music.
Streisand probably didn't have the same music from Judy Garland.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do that.
Right.
Because I think that
Keep the principle,
the problem is, if you want to even call it The Bodyguard, call it The Bodyguard.
Right.
Whoever plays the role is going to be compared to Whitney Houston. And not Whitney Houston as an actress, but the song, the music.
Yeah.
Because let's not forget,
that's true.
for the younger people, the Bodyguard soundtrack was a force of nature.
Yeah. It
That
really
has
was.
been one of the biggest musical moments, musical eras in all of popular
music. It was
music.
the definition of pop culture zeitgeist.
Yes. And I Will Always Love You, whether you love the song or you hate it, is one of the most iconic songs of all time. Whether you hate it, whether you love it, whatever your opinion is on it. So, when I heard that they were remaking this movie, my first reaction was like, oh, but it's too soon. But then I think, oh, wait, shit, but it's going to be 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like... if in the 90s they would have redone something of the 60s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they redid A Star Is Born, and the Streisand version's from the 70s. So I mean,
Right, but it feels older.
because it was Streisand, and that
it's
was
the
no,
70s.
but that's also before our era.
Yes, it feels older.
Yeah.
But like The Bodyguard still seems
Currentish.
currentish. Yeah. That being also because, Whitney Houston was a really big star that, she was very popular until she died.
To this day.
And she continues to be. But I think that if they have, whoever they have, whether it's a Latina character, whatever, if they do it with the music of Whitney Houston's Bodyguard, I don't think it's going to work. Because, again, it doesn't matter who does that song. Mm-hmm. Even if they have an amazing voice, they're going to be compared to Whitney Houston.
By default.
And I feel that the I Will Always Love You. I mean, just think about it this way.
They can't do that song. If nothing else, they can't do that song.
Just
period.
think about it this way. That song
Sorry,
is
Dolly.
by Dolly Parton. One of the most beloved, iconic
human beings
in the American,
in the universe at
in
this
the
point.
universe,
I
but
mean,
in the American diaspora, in
Yeah,
American culture,
Yeah.
right? And freaking Whitney Houston eclipsed
right.
10 times over
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton's
Right,
version,
right.
Because
So there's nowhere to go
because
with the song.
Whitney Houston's version, as you often say, was like a lightning in a bottle. It was the perfect time, the perfect place, the movie that it became what it became, and then doing it, then everybody in the movie is going to wait for that moment when they play the song, and no, they can't do that song.
Do you think they should just avoid it altogether and just have her be an actress?
No, she could be a singer.
But I'm saying, not even have her be a singer, just have her be an actress. And that's the thing. Because at the end of the day, like you said, the plot is the same. It's a bodyguard who falls in love with his charge.
Right. I mean, I think... Wait. In the movie, though...
She's both.
She's both. I was like, she's in the Academy Awards.
Right, she's both. She's both. That's what I'm saying. She's both. But I'm saying in this round, have her be just an actress. She doesn't sing, or I don't know, have her be an athlete or something.
I mean, if for good measure you want to have a tribute, have her sing "Jesus Loves Me," But the Whitney songs, like "Queen of the Night," "I Have Nothing," "Run to You," obviously,
I Always
Love You. Those songs can't be part of it.
Yeah, just don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't even go there.
No, you're not going to win.
I've told you my whole thing about that song, right?
Which one? Sorry.
"I Always Love You."
Is this like
So,
you and
all
My Heart Will
honesty,
Go On?
I always heard that song. I heard that song first by Whitney Houston.
Same.
I hadn't heard it by Dolly Parton.
Same.
And I love it by Whitney Houston. I mean, who doesn't like that song? It's again
Iconic.
the greatest of the greatest. But I have to tell you that not so much after I listened to the Dolly Parton one, but I guess since I'm older and your tastes kind of change, I really like the Dolly Parton version.
I loved when she sang it live.
I just think that the way that she does it,
It's more plaintive.
yeah, and it's nothing against the Whitney Houston one.
No, but it's almost like there's the
It's
Whitney
like she's
Houston and
talking
Dolly.
to you.
Dolly's is more acoustic almost.
Yes, that's I feel the same way with, which I think, if you put a gun to my head and made me pick my favorite song of all time, it would probably be "I Can't Make You Love Me" by Bonnie Raitt. If you really made me pick a song,
That song is so depressingly beautiful.
right? And there's been so many people who've remade that song. Have you heard? George Michael's
Yes.
version.
Yeah, it's the first one I
George
thought of.
Michael's version is amazing.
But it's so smooth.
Yes, it's so perfect.
I'm
Now,
going to
what
say something that is going to sound horrible, but I know you know what I mean. George Michael's version of that song, Whitney's version of "I Will Always Love You," are a little devoid of emotion.
Right,
Because they're so polished.
They're so polished and pitch perfect
Right,
and all that.
right.
What I enjoy about Bonnie Raitt's version of "I Can Make You Love Me" is what I enjoy about it.
Dolly's.
It's that it's very earnest. It's very it could have been in one take. It's
right.
Se le va un gallo.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it's the emotion of that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very again, it could have been a one take song. But I think you have to be, that's why with the Dolly Parton version, after I was older and I started appreciating the Dolly Parton more, that's when I was I think I like her version better. And I know that's like weird because it's like, okay,
It's a little sacrilegious to some people, but
to sing Whitney Houston, and nothing against Whitney Houston. I love Whitney Houston. But that's actually not my favorite song of the movie.
is it? I Have Nothing.
Oh, yes. That is my favorite Whitney Houston
It's
song.
such a good song.
That song is just great. Great. You know what's so funny? The Bodyguard soundtrack, I think, was the first CD I ever bought. Like, actually bought. Because
Like with your own money.
I got a CD player in 1992.
Okay.
And then I got it in 1992. And I had gotten, because I remember I got my first CD player in a boombox for Christmas. So they gave me a few CDs.
Okay.
But like the one that I first like went to buy was, I think, the Bodyguard soundtrack. And I remember that I loved that it had that song, Lovely Day, Lovely Day.
Michelle Visage.
And it by who?
Well, Michelle Visage is the one who sings the
lovely
lady part
day.
on that song, and she always talks about how she got screwed out of royalties
Oh, yeah.
because her management was horrible.
And it has a song by Lisa Stansfield. Someday I'm coming back, and it won't be. Those are the other songs.
That's the second half of the album.
of the Bodyguard soundtrack.
That's the second half of the album. I don't remember what the first CD was that I bought, but I remember the first CD I ever received was Spellbound by Paul Abdul.
Well, of course.
I mean, with the compact and the eye.
Let's not forget that in the early 90s, my girl was always Mariah, and yours was Paul Abdul.
Yes.
SPELL bound.
That album, I enjoy that album, even though that album has some songs that are not good.
Spellbound?
Yeah, but I enjoy it as a whole.
I think it's a lot more conceptual than the first one.
Yeah, the first one was just about like singles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I really like from the first one, from here we're talking about Paul Abdul's debut, that song, because I need you.
Oh, I Need You,
when
yeah.
the going gets tough. You know I do. And I remember that when it came out, I didn't care for it, but much later, I really liked Knocked Out.
Which was her first actual single from that album.
Out, turn me into, and The Way That You Love Me was released like twice, I think.
The Way That You Love Me.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I know. Now you have me like think. I'm genuinely.
I always, when I think of that song, The Way That You Love Me, I always think of her opening the American Music Awards.
Oh, that's right.
And the performance took like 10 minutes. You don't
Wow,
remember
that
why?
long?
Because she performed the song. Then they did Welcome to the American Music Awards
And
tonight. The whole presentation, it was her dancing while like the names came out on the screen.
Oh, I don't remember
and
that.
then when it ended, she came back and finished the song.
Aw.
It's just the way that you. Let me tell you, Paul Abdul was big. Paul Abdul had some bops, as the kids would say.
She did. I mean, at one point they even wanted her to, to open the Stardust, and but it was between her and Latoya, but they went with Naomi Malone.
It was her and Latoya, yeah. That's okay. That was a part of like, okay, I could understand Paul Abdul because that was written in the 93, 94.
Right.
She was still pretty relevant at that
Right.
point.
And that role required a dancer, quote unquote, right?
But Latoya, they say Latoya or Janet.
Janet. Sorry.
Yeah.
Janet. Sorry.
Right. So they had Paul Abdul, who had a very successful career in the early 90s.
Known for being a dancer.
Right. They had pop icon Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson.
But they went with Naomi Malone.
They went with Naomi Malone.
Because nobody could eat a hamburger like her.
But she didn't eat one.
She just...
Ella se pasó la película entera tirando comida. She would always start food and then she would always get mad and throw it.
Let me ask you something. I guess we could talk about Showgirls. We've never talked about Showgirls.
We've never talked
on
about Showgirls,
Better Let
have
Me
we?
Tell you, listeners, for those of you who have never seen the movie Showgirls,
Oh, what a treat.
we're about to have a little conversation about it. Do you think that movie deserved or deserves all the crap that it got?
No.
Do you think it's as bad as people say?
I think it's a bad movie, but I think there are worse movies out there. I think that what happened...
Well, no, for sure.
I think what happened is, this was her first, Liz, like I know her. Elizabeth Berkley's first, outing after Saved by the Bell. So, and she was the first one to do an adult role of all of them.
Right.
So, all eyes were on her. It was Paul Verhoeven and Joe Esterhaus. So,
Wasn't it supposed to be like a much grittier movie?
Well, because because these are the guys who gave us Basic Instinct. So it was supposed to be this like, down and dirty about Vegas and, blah, 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 blah. And then, well, we saw what we got, and it's a bad movie. Like, it is a bad movie. But if you watch it through the right lens, it's thoroughly entertaining. And at the end of the day, that's all I care about from a movie. But I think it gets a worse reputation and now it's become a joke. Like, people will use it as like, oh, well, at least it's not showgirls who've never even seen it.
Right, because look, and we could even talk about Glitter with Mariah Carey's Glitter.
Bring it. Because what do showgirls love more than Glitter?
I think Mariah Carey. I think Glitter was a bad movie, but I don't think Glitter. I don't think it's like the worst.
I don't think Mariah embarrassed herself in it.
I don't think it's. I think there's like shots like cinematography wise,
right?
Like in Glitter, it was set in the early '80s, like in the club scene of New York City,
right. When people wore silver slashes on their body.
But like there's very like scenes that are very like artsy, like with the.
It's
clubs.
a well-made movie.
Like there's certain scenes that are good,
right?
I just think that the problem with Glitter, which is the problem with Showgirls, is just that the plot, the writing was just
horrible,
awful.
Yeah,
I feel that with both movies, you don't feel anything for the characters.
I don't know what I'm supposed to feel.
That's like in Glitter, in Showgirls, like I understand what they were trying to do with Nomi and Crystal, but it was so badly written that like
I didn't care.
You didn't care. Like you didn't feel for Crystal that she was like the aging showgirl,
right?
But you also didn't care for Nomi Malone either.
You're
like,
not on Nomi's side, really.
Yeah, and
no, and then out of nowhere, the rape thing at the end,
right? And then like what's his name, Kyle McLachlan, whatever his
Kyle McLachlan
name,
Kyle McLachlan
was on Sex and the City, like. Everybody was so awful and just so...
No, and then the one good person, again, which was her friend, the seamstress, gets raped.
Violently.
Yeah. A violent rape scene. And it's like... Really?
You watch this and it's like, but why? Like...
What's your purpose? What's the point of this movie?
Because I could understand it if, like, you know, the whole thing of the movie was to show, like, how being a showgirl is
cutthroat.
It's cutthroat. It's not all the glitz and glamour.
Remove the facade of the showgirl.
Right. Like, and there's certain scenes of the movie, like when she has to like do the rehearsal and all that kind of started to go there, but then just didn't.
It just kept. It was over the top, and then it just kept going further over the top.
You know, and then like the other stuff, and another part that like really sort of bothered me of the movie was that it was kind of like given that all these women were like whores, you know. That's like, oh, you know, we're gonna go Caesar sing, you know, have Caesar sing. So it's like, okay, I really do believe that you could be a Vegas showgirl without have morals, like, you know,
without sleeping your way to the middle, right? Because she didn't even sleep her way to the top,
right? The middle. So it's just, I don't know. It was just that all over the place, all over the place. Like you don't feel for the characters. You don't like the whole thing at the end, like when she goes and says bye to Crystal in the hospital. Like it doesn't mean anything. Like
no.
She
just happened to be at the hospital.
It's supposed to mean something, like, you know, it is, but it's like, but you're the one who pushed her down the stairs.
I mean, it's not even a. I mean, it is all about Eve at the end of the day, but it's not even a good all about Eve.
But it's not like you pushed her down the stairs and then you really regretted it,
right? Or you pushed her by accident,
right?
Or
but she never regretted it. Like,
no,
there was never a scene where she was like, you know, I shouldn't have done that,
right?
Like,
no, wait, she didn't push her down the stairs. She threw them. Wait, did she push her down the stairs? Or she threw the marbles.
Oh wait, was it the other girl?
No, the marbles was the other girl.
Yes,
I think. Wait, I don't remember right now. It's irrelevant. But
no, she pushed her down the stairs, and the girl that saw her was a girl with like the braids.
With yes, the white girl with the dreads. Yes,
is the one that saw her.
Yes,
and then it was like their little secret.
That's right.
You know,
she's like, I saw her. She fell. She fell.
Yeah, and the same with Glitter. Like, you were supposed to feel for her romance with the DJ, you know, in this case it would be Mariah.
And if you didn't know you should have when he played the marimba.
The marimba, yeah. There were more types of marimberos in the 80s, you know.
Yes. You know my favorite
but you
part
don't
of that movie
feel anything for the relationship. What?
My favorite part of that movie.
The end.
The end. But the part where Terrence Howard, like, again, spoiler alert for a movie that's like, you know, 20 something years old. Actually 20 years old because it came out the week of 9/11. When Terrence Howard goes and kills Max Beasley, And our friend, after watching it, she's like, well, I mean, he told him he was going to if he didn't pay him. What do you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And like, you don't feel for any of these characters, like, because it's so badly written.
Yeah.
But I get more upset at movies that have like a good cast, like a
And it's
good
wasted.
director. And like, I'll never forget that. Like, one of the worst movies I've ever seen was The Island of Dr. Moreau. And for God's sake, Marlon Brando was in that movie.
Marlon Brando, Val Kilmer.
And then it thought, you know what's
forgot about that
also
movie.
awful? You know, again, it's taking it back to the 90s, was Village of the Damned with Kirstie Alley.
Oh, and Christopher Reeve.
That was such an awful movie.
That was a remake.
Awful.
That was a remake of a B movie from like, I think the
And
60s.
there was another movie that I not too long ago that I saw. When I mean not too long ago, I mean the last few years. That was just really, really bad.
Oh, the J-Lo and Vanessa Hudgens one. I know you hated that one.
The one where that Leah Remini's in the movie?
Yeah, second act.
Yeah, oh, terrible. Terrible. Just terrible. I mean, terrible. Well, some of her movies are...
Yeah, but again, as long as you're having fun, like you can sometimes tell when a movie's bad, but the people making it are having a good time.
There was a movie that I remember came out maybe 3 or 4 years ago that it was Esta Chiquita from 50 Shades of Grey, Dakota Johnson.
Dakota Johnson, yeah.
That she did a movie with Rebel Wilson.
Oh,
That they were
How to Be Single or something like
right.
that.
That they were building on her success with
From 50, yeah.
And then Rebel Wilson was kind of on her
Pitch Perfect,
That
yeah.
movie, did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, it was not good.
Awful. It was awful. Like I remember being in the movie theater being
I saw it on HBO.
Pero like now her friend is rich. Like Rebel Wilson is rich.
Yeah,
like
I remember that movie ending and being like, so what? Okay, what?
it was terrible.
What am I supposed to take away
Like
from
I
this?
get more upset at stuff like that because those are movies that like have a big studio behind them, have writers, like directors, like
Somebody
legit
should have
actors,
had like oversight.
a lot of money, and like this is what you came up with. Like
Yeah.
those are the movies I get mad at. I don't get mad at Hannah Montana the movie, or Glitter.
Or Glitter. Again, Glitter, you know what? Glitter's not a good movie, but she did not embarrass herself, I have to say.
And the Glitter soundtrack, Justice for Glitter, was ahead of its time.
Yes, it was. That is.
It was actually, because if you think about it, like she was doing a retro 80s album in 2001. We had been out of the 80s 11 years.
Yeah, and that's what people are doing now.
Yeah, it was too soon.
Yeah.
It was too soon.
No, you are correct, sir. You are correct.
Too soon. So, anyway. Well, what else do you have for me? Bueno,
Well,
let's bring it local.
A little more local.
Let's bring it local. ¿Viste el cisco que hubo aquí esta semana with Joe Carollo and Art Acevedo and all these fucking people on the commission?
All eyes on me in the center of the ring.
Just like
Circo.
did you see the thing with Elvis Presley?
With Elvis Presley.
Yeah. Okay, so for our listeners who don't know,
This took a turn. Wait,
especially
what?
especially our listeners who are not in Miami. So the Miami Commission, what people have to understand is if you're not from Miami, I'm going to give you a little lesson.
Little civics.
So Miami is one of the largest metropolitan areas in the country. I think we're 4th or 5th
Sounds about right.
metropolitan area in the country. I think, obviously New York,
LA.
Chicago, LA. I think maybe Houston
Atlanta?
or Texas or Dallas. One
We're
of those.
top 10 for sure.
No, we're like top 5.
Okay.
Right? But what a lot of people, especially if you're not from here, don't realize is that most of the metropolitan area of Miami is unincorporated Dade County. It's not the city of Miami. The city of Miami is actually quite small. It has a population, I think, of like the 300,000.
It's basically a downtown.
All right. It's downtown, Coconut Grove, like the older areas of town. I mean, if you're from here, you know.
You know this.
So
everybody else
So
is-
there's two municipal governments. There's like the government of Miami-Dade County, and then there's the government of Miami-Dade. So because the county just has more residents and more people, a lot of times like the mayor of Miami-Dade County and the commission of Miami-Dade County has more pull or weight than the commission and the mayor of Miami City proper.
Just because it oversees more area.
Right. Although the commission and the mayor of Miami City proper do see like downtown and all that, which is like
but just
the central business district.
But just distance wise, there's just more
right,
area
distant
to cover.
area,
Yeah.
population wise,
Right,
it's
population,
more the
thank
county.
you.
But anyway, so the reason I bring that up is because the city of Miami's local government, and again, we're talking about the city, a lot of times it gets kind of put in the media as like it's a joke. Right, and one of our favorite hometown people, Billy Corbin,
Mr. Corbin,
who we've had on the show, season one, he's very, very good to call out the local bullshit when it comes down, and
we don't always agree with him.
He's very hard
when
on,
we do.
on our mayor Francis Suarez of the city of Miami. He calls him Mayor Postalita. And he is especially hard, rightfully so, on one of the most controversial commissioners, former mayor of the city of Miami, Joe Carollo. So if you don't know local politics, Joe Carollo is like a freaking clown. Like, a lot of people are afraid of him because he's one of these people that, like, he will shut you down. Like, he literally
like he did for Ball and
will
Chain.
shut you down. Here in Miami, one of the most iconic establishments.
They just filed a lawsuit, by the way.
The owners of Ball and Chain?
On the heels of what you're going to talk about with the explosive things, they just filed a lawsuit.
Ball and Chain is this restaurant here in it's a restaurant, like live music venue,
nightclub area,
nightclub that it's world known.
It
has been open since the 30s.
Yes.
It's been open since the 30s.
Definition of landmark.
It's a tourist attraction. It's in the middle of one of the most popular areas of town. Joe Carollo has a problem with the owners of the place because they, once upon a time, endorsed or supported his opponent in the
Basically, they didn't endorse him or support
they didn't
him.
endorse him. So he made it a point to get them shut down, and he, went against maybe he'll shut us down for saying what we're saying.
Ooh.
This is our opinion.
Yes.
This is our opinion.
Our opinion.
The views expressed
are solely ours.
Our opinions. Anyway, he allegedly had all these violations thrown at them.
Well, he even went so far as to change, I think, the ordinances in the area so that there was like a noise.
And one thing led to another. The place shut down. They're trying to reopen it, but it's shut down. Right. The reason I bring this up is because Joe Carollo has a reputation among people here for being very petty. So fast forward to this week. The chief of police, Art Acevedo,
former chief of police for Texas.
In Houston, was brought in, I believe in April or May of this year. To much like fanfare. He was allegedly in Houston. He was like incredible and he was inclusive. And
supposedly in every city he's been in, he's done like a good job. Like he shows up and
he comes here
and he's Cuban. Let me rephrase that.
But he's not Miami Cuban.
He's not Miami Cuban.
He's not part of
He's not part of the Miami Mafia. Right.
So he kind of got into a little bit of trouble, the police chief, because last month or something, he referred to as a Miami Mafia. And I remember when he said that on TV, I was like, well, he shouldn't have said that.
But where's the lie?
Where's the lie? That's not untrue.
Where's the lie?
Like the Miami Cuban Mafia. The Miami Cuban Mafia. That's what he said.
It's a thing, kids.
I'm like, he's not saying anything that's not true or that everybody doesn't know. Right? Point is, this week they had a review of him because he was...
he released a memo.
Right, but he has... For a while, they had been after him.
Right.
Joe Carollo and the people in the commission.
Because he's not on board with them.
So he's not on board with them, so they've been trying to bring him down. The reason we're bringing this up in the podcast is because it was a shit show this week. So basically, when Joe Carollo was talking about him...
Right.
He just started saying all these terrible things, and he played in Miami City Hall during this hearing videos of Art Acevedo some years ago dressed up as Elvis Presley in the jumpsuit, in the white jumpsuit, and he was showing the video to the commission being like, who could wear something so tight and be like a man, like have this position?
Spoken like someone who has been accused of beating his wife.
Right. So I'm thinking like, wait, hold on. Did this man, who is a commissioner for the city of Miami, just use as evidence of alleged malpractice,
whatever you want to call,
do the job, whatever, in this evidentiary hearing? Did he just play a video of an old video of the police chief dressed up as Elvis Presley for, I think, Halloween?
Right.
And went on to say that anybody who dresses with anything that tight is questionable in their position. Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
He said that?
Yeah. Not verbatim, but
that's what he did.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. That is the circus. That is our.
Why? And that's
that's
why Billy Corbin keeps having documentaries.
But you know what though? That hearing, because you know all the shit show that went down.
Yeah.
That hearing made the national news.
Well, that was the hearing that they all got together to basically appoint themselves to investigate themselves, right?
Yes.
Right. I'm sure they're going to find themselves innocent. I don't know. Fingers crossed.
You know the thing about it is that
there's an independent investigation though too, right? I believe I heard something that they were. I don't know.
I think he's trying to, but there was also the union is involved.
Right.
It's a little complicated.
Right. Meanwhile, the guy who appointed Police Chief Acevedo, Mayor Postalita,
is nowhere to be seen.
Nowhere to be seen. He's off somewhere talking about how to bring more people in because we've got Bitcoin or something.
Right, because of the tech bros.
Because
apparently here in Miami, you could find a 1-bedroom waterfront apartment for $600.
That's true.
You can't even find
a
closet for $600 a month in Miami.
Ni con una manguera no joda.
I mean, these like self-righteous commissioners or whatever, elected officials, and there's a handful of them. It's not only Joe Carollo. It's like, do they really believe that at night when they go to bed and they, are there thinking, as one does, thoughts about like your reality and your life and all that. Do they really believe that their constituents respect them or that people as a whole?
They do,
like
because
them?
they keep getting voted.
Right, but here's the thing with
Joe
Carollo. Joe Carollo's constituents, like his electorate pool is like thousands. It's like, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 people.
Right, but as long as those 3,000-4,000 people keep voting for him.
There's a guy who's running against him. His name is Quinn Smith, Americano. And
Smith.
Well, no, because he could be of...
True.
And he's running against him, and he knows it's a long shot, and he is knocking on every single door of his constituency. Every single door. And he's doing like several rounds of knocking. And I'm like, I hope you get that guy out of office, because the thing with him,
he wins.
The thing with him is not even, because there's sometimes people that are in office that I don't agree with, but whatever. I mean, they're respectable enough, right? The problem with this guy and a lot of people in local politics, and I think this is true of like a lot
in general,
of local politics, is that they're petty and vindictive.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So it's not a matter of like, okay, I don't disagree with you. I disagree with you on this.
Right. Move on.
On these views. This is not what I think is best for the city. We should not spend so much money on this, or we should spend money on whatever. Those are arguments that we could have that are fair and valid, even if I think you're wrong. But like, this is like petty shit, like really petty, vindictive, personal shit that now is being brought to a public forum.
Right.
Because that is the city of Miami.
Yeah.
That is, City Hall is being brought to a public forum, and now we are a laughing stock as a whole because of your pettiness and your bullshit,
Yeah, because you're being a little stupid ass, yeah.
So for those of you who did not watch it this
week,
look it up. And follow Billy Corbin on Instagram.
Yes.
I'm sorry, on Twitter.
Billy Corbin's Twitter. Well, on Instagram too, because he puts videos on Instagram.
But Billy Corbin's Twitter is probably my favorite Twitter.
Really?
I mean,
I got him on Twitter, so...
Is it not yours? Like,
well, I'm sure it would be if I was on Twitter. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So that's the local news for this week. That's
my favorite part of the whole thing is that, again, because we're talking about petty people, that at one point they were saying that, like, if I forget the exact phrasing, but that they were looking into, like, not approving the budget or whatever, and this, that, and the other for the police, because of what happened, and they have to look into it. And I'm like, oh, so you're defunding the police? I thought that's what communists did.
Right.
Interesting.
Just terrible. Just terrible people. Terrible people.
Yeah, I can't deal with it.
Anyways, this has made me very thirsty.
Of course it has, because we've been talking about Miami politics. That's enough to give anybody a bunch of, just thirst. So do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? Okay. Go first. I will go first. So I'm actually going to kind of sort of following your footsteps of last week. So I'm giving a soda to someone but I don't know her name.
Okay.
But here's the story. So today, Fake Friday, I went with Jose to a doctor's appointment, whatever. And we're coming out of the building, and there's this lady in front of us, and whatever. Jose and I are talking, and she's in front of us, and whatever. And so she gets to her car, la casualidad, that she's parked right next to us, like literally like right next to us. And whatever, she gets in, she opens her car door, and then I see that she like leans forward, right, like she's gonna tell us something. And I was like, oh shit, like did she hit Jose's car? Like because the door was very close to his car and this, that, or whatever. And she just looks over, and she's like, I'm sorry, but I've been listening to you for like the last couple minutes as we're walking here. She's like, are you from Pero Let Me Tell You?
You had a Pero Let Me Tell You moment?
Yes, I had a Pero Let Me Tell You moment. So, she was like, I knew that your voice sounded familiar and whatever. She was very lovely. But, it just kind of made my day, right? Because, again, when you're doing something like a podcast, it's not like people are going to recognize you in the street, like facially anyway, right? So, I don't know. I just felt like it's a little self-serving, this last soda, but it's just one of those moments that like...
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, yeah, I love you guys. I can't wait to listen to you tomorrow. So, you know what? I don't know your name, ma'am, but thank you. It really brightened my day, and I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate all of our listeners. So, moral of the story is, she even said it. She's like, at first I was like, I don't know if I want to say anything or what have you. And I was like, no, yeah. I mean, if y'all see us in the street, feel free to say hi. But
at that moment, you were the man with the golden voice.
It was. Well, I don't know about all that, but yeah. But so I'm giving it to the lady in the parking lot at Baptist who recognized my voice.
That's nice. Those are nice moments.
Yeah.
You know that as you were saying that, I was kind of scrolling here, and there's a. This is gonna set you off. There's
Pero ¿por qué hace esto, caballero?
clickbait, I guess it is. Christy Teigen says she had surgery to remove fat from her cheeks. I only bring it up because I know you don't like her.
Was that part of her rehabilitation, to stop being a troll?
I don't care for...
I've never cared for her, and that's true.
No, I know.
I've always seen past that little facade of hers. She did not trick me.
Eso fue como...
Yo sí que se la vi.
Yes, ¿en qué pasa? Yo sé cuando viene Milagros.
She's like, se la vi.
No,
she's like,
se la vi. Yo sí que se la vi.
That's me and this chick.
What is it? Yo sí se la vi. El olor a rata que tenía. Yo estaré vieja, pero tengo el olfato. Adela. Yeah, I'm not a fan of hers. I'm not. I don't know if this is true or not, but I generally don't like to say things up like these type of things.
Is this your gasless soda?
No, I generally don't like to say these type of things about celebrities.
Because we don't know them.
Because at the end of the day, we don't know celebrities. Like,
right.
We think we know them, but we don't. Yeah. She doesn't seem to me like a genuine person. Maybe she is, but she doesn't seem to me like a genuine person. To me, she seems like everything about her is extremely calculated.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years.
Which is true of a lot of celebrities. I mean, it's not...
Well, everybody has an image.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not a fan. But, hopefully maybe she is a wonderful person. So, I'm giving my last soda to Eminem.
The candy or the rapper?
The rapper. Okay. Although I love the candy.
Yes, we do.
So, as we were talking earlier, he opened up Mom's Spaghetti.
Yes.
In Detroit, which I love Detroit.
In the new downtown area.
Yes.
Which has really had a resurgence.
Downtown Detroit? Detroit is...
I was there a couple years ago, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, downtown Detroit is beautiful. Like, yeah. I've always said, like, can I be hired as a PR person? I've never done PR for Detroit, because Detroit, Michigan gets this terrible rap. And that's not to say there aren't problems with Detroit. There are a lot of problems with Detroit. Yeah. But downtown Detroit is actually gorgeous.
And they've been renovating it. It's gorgeous.
They have. And that's like, people never see that. They never talk about that, but whatever. But he opened up this new restaurant called Mom's Spaghetti. And as you and I were talking, I think it's kind of funny because obviously that comes from Lose Yourself, his song, when he says...
vomit on his sweater, Mom's Spaghetti.
Mom's Spaghetti, right? But then I'm thinking like, okay, that's not a positive take on it.
Right.
And then also Mom's Spaghetti, like his mom, Debbie, like he went on a tirade for most of his career about how much he hated his mom. When Eminem released the Marshall Mathers LP, When Slim Shady came out,
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
like
yeah.
at the height. I went to see him in concert.
Oh, you told the story.
Yeah, and there was a moment that he and like his whole entourage, everybody on stage, was like, "Fuck Debbie," and he wanted everybody in the audience like stick their middle finger up and be like, "Fuck Debbie," and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable saying "fuck Debbie." Like
I've
didn't
never heard
say it.
Debbie's side of the story.
Yes,
Like,
I don't know Debbie
That way.
Mathers. Like I don't feel comfortable in this situation, so I'm not saying "fuck Debbie."
I think that's fair.
Yes, so good for him. Eminem is one of these people that like. I know he's gonna be a jerk, and I know,
But I think he's actually grown in the last couple of years.
he has, and like I've always liked his music.
Same.
And like, yeah, like I believe. Remember when he got all this shit for saying, derogatory gay terms?
Yes.
I believe that when he kind of did that performance with Elton John,
That was
I think it was genuine.
That was him attempting to grow.
yes, it was a different time.
Right.
I think that now it would be this whole orchestrated PR movement.
Right, but back then, why would he perform with
Right.
Elton John?
I think that back then he was probably like, this is what people say. I understand it's wrong.
Right.
And let's do this together to show that this is not who I am. Right. So even that, like, but then again, there is also the song Kim. You know that song?
Oh yeah. It is not about Lil Kim.
No. No. Because that song is really bad. The song Kim. It's the last song on the Marshall Mathers LP. It's really bad, but
Pero mira, para que tú veas, he, as bad as he is, he also, because apparently Kim had a daughter from a previous relationship, and he adopted her too.
yeah,
So I mean, like he's not like how bad of a person can you be, right? If you're like, well, I'm gonna adopt the kid
how
that's not mine.
much of it is it art? How much of it is it, storytelling,
Persona.
probably all of the above.
Yeah.
But I've always liked him. I know he's a controversial figure, but I've always believed that, and I could be very wrong, especially in his heyday, I really think that he didn't give a fuck. And I really think that whatever
Yeah.
he did was because that is what he felt at the time.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
Including whatever apologies or retributions or so
Right,
you
right,
could say
right.
he had. I thought he was genuine-ish.
Well, it was also a time before social media, which I think
Yeah.
there's something to be said for that, because now you aren't orchestrating your own personal photo ops.
Yeah. I never cared for. I never cared for Kid Rock. I never cared for him, for Kid Rock.
You were not down with the ball.
No, I wasn't. I was never a fan. I was never a fan of his. And now he's tremendo.
Yeah, no, he
plays the trompeta.
he's
I never cared for him. But Eminem, yeah, and I don't know. I like the whole 8 Mile Detroit story. So good for him. Here he gets a last soda so he could, share it at his
he
restaurant.
could serve it at Mom's Spaghetti.
At Mom's Spaghetti in Detroit, Michigan.
Yes, sir.
So
So that brings us to the end of episode 176.
yes. Wow, that was fast.
That was-
We should end it with our rendition of "I Will Always Love You."
No one wants to hear that ever. Ever.
You know what I just thought about? I don't know why. To share with our listeners. When I was at FIU that I took like 3 theater classes that we had to do like a monologue. And we had to do our monologue based on like poetry or like a
written verse.
right, of a book. And I get up there.
God.
You've heard this before.
I feel like I must have.
I get
but-
up there, black stage,
Right. Everybody's being like very somber, very theater, very black box.
and I'm like, I heard from a friend today.
Oh, God, yes, I do know this story.
I heard from a friend today, and it said you were in town. And I have to tell you that suddenly, all the memories came back to me in my mind. And I asked myself, And time I've said that I will never fall in love with you again. And I could see the people being like, where do I know that from? Like,
That was the first song I ever made out to, and it was at your birthday party in
well,
your
there we
parents'
go.
house.
It's gonna be 50 years next week. And I remember everybody being like, okay, we know this from somewhere. Like,
Yeah, they're like trying to figure it out.
Okay,
They're
we
like,
know this from
they're
somewhere.
like, and they're trying like to make a beat.
yes,
to try,
it's like, okay,
yeah.
where's this from? And I'm, Janet Jackson again. I remember my professor was very impressed.
As you should
It's
be.
pretty good, right?
It is. It's a presta.
Se presta, like,
Se presta, yeah.
I think I give it a life of its own,
Well, of course, that's called the performer's interpretation.
of course. So, with that said, we hope we'll leave you with that little nugget of joy.
because there's after that we got nothing else.
We hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your croqueta, your pastelito, and your cafecito. And thank
sir.
you for joining us, everybody.
Episode 176, mi gente. Cuídense. Bye.
From a friend.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.